Welcome to Mensah TV. This is where Ghana's biggest conversation all happens. Today, I'm here with an amazing personality, one who has just been honored as a part of Ghana's 100 most influential people, and in fact, the conversation is going to be very amazing. So do stick and stay with us. I'll take a quick turn and I'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us here on Mensah TV. My name is Kweku Mensah. So my guest for today is Mrs. Karen. Welcome to Mensah TV.
I'm very welcome to be here. Thank you for having me on Mensah TV, Kweku.
Okay. All right. So for someone who is actually watching you for the first time on Mensah TV, who is Mrs. Karen? Your name and a bit of introduction about yourself to that person.
Okay, so to those who are meeting, my name is Mrs. Karen Hendrickson. I have been in Ghana for over 20 years. And as you rightly said at the beginning, I was recently honored with being awarded one of the top 100 influencers in Ghana. Which not only thrilled me and humbled me, but also filled me with a lot of gratitude.
All right. So this is the personality we have here today. You must be very lucky. So stick and stay with us as we go along. We know one of the things you do, actually you do a lot of things, but one we will be talking much about is Malaika Air. So I would actually want to know which role you play at Malaika Air.
Okay. First of all, Malaika Air is a brand new airline. Brand new, we're in the setup stages. Okay. And my role is that of the managing director for customer experience and loyalty. So anything that impacts the passenger other than just booking the ticket, that's my role.
Okay.
And it's a role that I'm very passionate about and excited about, because Malaika Air is working towards bringing back the fun and the luxury in travel that used to exist about 20 years ago, but has slowly just disappeared and evaporated. So we're hoping to change that dynamic.
Okay. So how did you get to enter into the aviation industry? Take us through the journey, talking about 20 years evaporating and coming back.
Oh, wow. You have enough time. Well, my initial career, I actually started out as an accountant.
Okay.
This was back in Bermuda, where I and my family lived for many years.
Okay.
After being born in Jamaica, we then moved, my family moved to Bermuda, which is a very tiny island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And after graduating from university, I worked for many years in what they call the reinsurance industry as a reinsurance accountant. After doing that for a number of years, I wanted to change gears. And I moved into investment banking at what was then the Bank of Bermuda, which ended up being bought by HSBC. And I was at HSBC for over a decade. And by the time I left, I was a senior vice president of investment banking. And while I loved it, it was getting a little, shall I say, boring. And so at that point, around about that point, I was fortunate enough to meet my husband. And we decided over a number of years to look to move to somewhere in Africa. And after researching for a number of years, we decided on Ghana. But that research was a lot of flying, because, you know, we had to fly to several countries. So our passion for air travel started way back then, if not even before. And when we decided on Ghana and moved here, one of the things that struck us, for someone like me to return to my island where I live, I have to go through the US, the UK, or Europe. I couldn't just fly there. At the time, if I lived in Switzerland, I could get on a plane in Ghana and go straight to Switzerland. But we didn't have that benefit for the Caribbean. So ideas started to percolate as to how we could change that dynamic. And so fast forward, after having numerous senior or C-suite roles in Ghana, the most recent before this, I was the CEO of Rabito Clinic for 7 years. But even prior to that, I'd been chief operations officer in fairly large companies here as well. But it became time now to stop researching and to actually do something, to have that connectivity between West Africa and the Caribbean. Because the Caribbean, 99% of the people, they come from the continent. Yet the only way they can come here is again through other countries. So that started that journey in earnest about 6 years ago. So we are at that stage now where I'll say we're about 98% there. And we are hopeful that our first flights will take off very, very soon. Now, what makes Malaika Air extremely different from other airlines, apart from the fact that it's going to be very much focused on doing things differently for our passengers, the main thing is we will be flying directly to the Caribbean without going through the US, the UK, or Europe. So that would mean that if you wanted Kweku to fly, say, to Barbados, you will not have to go and get a transit visa from a third country. You could get on the flight in Ghana, and when you wake up in the morning, you'll be in Barbados, and then you'll be processed through as a normal tourist coming to visit the island.
All right. So looking at the background information you have given us, it's actually like a challenge that you actually looked out and providing the solution to. But I want to find out, are there any other challenges in the aviation industry in Ghana or generally?
Well, yes, there are. I have been fortunate in that I've been traveling for most of my life. In fact, my very first trip was at 2 weeks old when my parents flew me from, after I'd been born in Jamaica, flew me back to Bermuda. So, and we've been flying ever since. And for me, as an ardent traveler who used to really enjoy traveling, what the aviation industry as a whole seems to have forgotten is that the passenger is the reason they exist. And in many cases, I feel like the passengers are treated as cattle. They are often disrespected or, by not getting right information on time, or they, in many of the airlines in the States now, you don't even get a meal on the plane. They tell you buy your food before, or they give you a bag of pretzels before you get on. It's just so impersonal. And then the other big thing for people who are flying longer distances, they squish us in there like sardines, and you can't even excuse my expression, pass gas because it is just so tight. And they've packed in more and more seats, making it very uncomfortable for most people who travel. So those types of challenges make it very difficult for someone who wants to travel for leisure. And in fact, I know many people now of a certain age, they said, you know what, it's not worth the hassle because traveling is no longer fun. It's no longer been made to so that they feel like, you know, they're special. So to me, on a global perspective, of course, there are some standout differences, but on a global perspective, those are the challenges that I see as a frequent flyer.
All right. So putting all these perspectives together and looking at how long you have been in Ghana, how do you picture the future of Ghana's aviation industry?
Well, I think Ghana's aviation industry is future. It's bright, and that there are opportunities there. I think it is very fair to say that Ghana has made huge strides in the aviation industry. For instance, we just have to look at the airport, Terminal 3. I am so proud when I go through there because I have been into airports in the US, the UK, and Europe that are not even half as good as that airport. And then there are other airports opening up across the country. So while it may seem to people outside the industry that things are not necessarily happening, I feel that the aviation industry in Ghana is developing. And in 5-10 years, we'll look and see that we will be the leader in aviation in Africa.
So with Malaika Air, which countries are we looking at flying to directly, as you made mention?
Okay, so it breaks down into two parts. From West Africa, we will be flying to Nigeria, to Cameroon, to Cote d'Ivoire to start. Okay. We'll pick up passengers, bring them to Ghana, and in many ways also promote Ghana, so that if people want to do a day tour of Ghana, see the beauty, the culture, they can do that. And then in the evenings, about 11 or 12 midnight, we will then fly in a larger plane than what we used to pick them up to the Caribbean, specifically Barbados, Bahamas, and Jamaica to start. Okay, you know, everyone has to start somewhere. So that is the plan. And likewise coming back. So Malaika Air is a scheduled airline. It is not a charter. So it's a scheduled airline that will go, you know, back and forth like other airlines do. So that right now is our plan. And we are really looking forward because we've had such positive feedback from our clients and passengers who are anxious for us to start.
All right.
Yes.
I see. So you have actually made mention of your nationality, that you are not actually a Ghanaian by birth, or not a Ghanaian. And I mean, we have been in Ghana for about over 20 years.
Yes.
And also, you made a bit of research before coming into Ghana. I would want to find out what are these things that specifically informed your decision to settle in Ghana. Let us know.
Okay, that's a great one. Now remember, this was more than 20 years ago. So what I saw in Ghana was that, first of all, it was very familiar to me. A portion of my childhood was spent in Jamaica. And anybody who's been to Jamaica and then comes to Ghana, it's just like Jamaica just like sort of broke off of Ghana and floated into the Caribbean.
I see.
The foods were similar, some of the language was familiar, and it just felt like coming home.
Okay.
That was the first thing.
Okay.
But over 20 years ago, Ghana was not as developed as it is now.
Okay.
The cost of living was a lot less. I remember being able to leave the house with, say, 10,000 Ghana cedis. Remember the 10,000 Ghana
Yeah,
cedi
notes.
notes?
Yeah, okay.
And go and come back with change. Try that today. But we could see where Ghana was going.
Okay.
And for me, I really loved, and this is what I fell in love with. The food was just, and is still incredible, but the culture, the festivals, the various ways things are done, the interactions like for weddings and funerals, all of that culture which many Ghanaians take for granted because they've grown up around it. To me, I was just fascinated. And every other country that I visited, whilst they might have had those something similar, it wasn't as technicolor or as rich as I found in Ghana. And for me, because I felt I could see where Ghana was going, I felt that I want to be part of that growth. Yes.
So seeing where Ghana was going at the time and looking at Ghana today, are we there? Have you seen what you actually pictured?
We've seen it and beyond.
Okay.
What I expected to happen in 15 years, 20 years, started happening within 3 to 5 years. And Ghana has changed so much. Some of it very good, very, very good. The way it has developed, like the road you came on to this house, if you would have come here 20 plus years ago, this road was non-existent, okay? That's just one example. The way even East Legon has developed, or the road to Dodowa. I remember we used to go out to Dodowa back then, and after you left what is now called the old barrier in Adenta, you did not see anything but bush until you got to, I think it was Valley University. And I used to say, oh my gosh, what happens if the car breaks down? There was nothing. You go on that road today, and it's just totally transformed. So it happened a lot faster than we thought. Now, other things that I never anticipated, I never anticipated Ghana becoming that hot international commodity that it is now, where everybody wants to come and visit or has come to visit. Back then, even my closest friends, I could not even get them to think about flying here. Now everybody wants to line up. Oh, I want to come. I want to come. Yes, I've heard so much. Or this star has been there, or this star. So now it's the in thing. I didn't see that happening outside of the continent. So that was a surprise. And also, I didn't expect the inflationary pressures that have come since COVID at that point. I thought I could always be walking around with a little bit of money and it would go very, very far. Those days are gone. But to be fair, it's across the world, where inflation has just taken over economies and really distorted it from what it used to be.
Okay, so let's look at the people of Ghana. What has the reception been like from the people of Ghana?
Okay, I would say on the whole, like 99.9999%, it has been incredible. It has been inviting, it has been warm, it has been friendly, and they have allowed me to experience Ghana close up. I have had the privilege of seeing things and going to places that many of my Ghanaian friends have not. That, because they haven't made those relationships or been as curious as I am to say, oh, can I come to that festival? Oh, you're a queen mother. Oh, what does that mean? Or, oh, you're a chief. Oh, my goodness, you're being installed. Can I come? Oh, it's very, very far. That's okay. I'll come. So I've had those types of experiences that have made my entire time in Ghana an incredible adventure. that is something that has never made me regret moving here. Now, that's not to say everything's been perfect, because it hasn't. Okay, I've lived through dumb sores. I've lived, we've gone through the same challenges that Ghanaians have over the last 20-something years. But for me, it has still been an incredible adventure. And what I love, that the things that have happened, they have the positive things have still presented themselves throughout all whatever challenges that came to light. So I'm very, very pleased about that.
Right. So we are reaching the tail of our conversation. Today we have Mrs. Karen Hendrickson.
Yeah, right, you got it right. I love it.
It has on Mensah TV, where Ghana's biggest conversations are had. But also, I don't know, now that you have actually been set up in Ghana for all this while, I know there are a lot of things that you do, presenting. You are actually a guru in communication and all that. Tell us a bit about that, and let's wrap up.
Okay, great. All righty. So one of the things that I'm known for is I am one of 6 trustees of the Children's Heart Foundation Ghana.
Okay.
And we've been doing this for over 15 years now. And what our charity or NGO does is that we have just one thing that we do, which I love, because I like to keep things simple. Children in Ghana who require open heart surgery and their parents can't afford to pay for it, the Children's Heart Foundation Ghana pays for it. And we have saved over 250 lives by being able to do this over the years. And the operations are not cheap. They can go up to 10 or 12,000 US dollars. They're billed in dollars. And many of the children need 2 operations. The first one being less expensive, but the second one is the big, exactly. And we have been able to positively impact so many families that gladdens my heart more than probably any award or anything I could receive. But in addition to that, which is what most people know me for, from philanthropy, there are a number of families that personally I provide sustenance for because they're not able to take care of themselves through whatever personal circumstances they find themselves in. Then in addition to that, I believe in mentoring and developing young people to become the best that they can be. But I'm not all honey and sugar. I'm a tough love person. And if you're lazy or you want to quick rewards, then the easy way, I'm going to call you out on it. I'm just that type of person. And but I do enjoy that. And I've seen so many of my mentees, either official mentees or unofficial mentees, the heights that they have reached has been nothing short of impressive and makes me so proud, like I'm their, like their mom or dad. So I'm very pleased about that. But the other thing that I have done is my persona, or I'm known as the visual orator. People can follow me on Facebook or Instagram, the visual orator. And the visual orator is my way of showcasing the best that Ghana and Africa has to offer. And that is, I focus on the untold stories and the untold events that no one else is covering, because it's not bad news, if you get what I mean. And the visual orator's vision is to be able to take this event or take this my vision to the rest of Africa. As you can see, we're in a very lush green oasis. That's one of my passions is gardening. But when you talk to people outside of the continent, or sometimes even in the continent, they're like, Africans are into gardens? Well, yes, they are. And there are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. And I want to be able to showcase that. Okay. I want to be able, through the visual orator and with the help of Malaika Air, to be able to travel through the continent and showcase what makes me as an African descent woman so proud to be called an African. And the passion that I feel for it is so great that there are some days I get up and I just am so pleased to be in a space and a time when the technology is there for me to make these things happen. Yes.
All right. So we'll receive your last words and greetings to family and friends. Then sign off.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank my dear husband, my family, my friends, my staff, and all the people who have supported us in this journey to make Malaika Air a reality. It is not, it's not an easy task, as many have said to me, and we have been on this path for a long time, but the support has never wavered. And for that, on behalf of the Malaika Air team, I am grateful and humbled, and I want you to stay tuned because there's a lot more exciting news to come.
All right, so today we had a conversation with Mrs. Karen Hendrickson of Malaika Air. My name is Kweku Mensah. Thanks for watching.